Pat McAfee. Jesus.
That's unbelievable. That is.
You ever had somebody go 0 for 2?
Well, and then you had to pat yourself on the back. Like, I have so many ads I have to read. Like, you're so rich. So you say my name wrong, and then you brag about how rich you are in the first 30 seconds I'm here. It's an honor to be here.
Most people would think, like, this is a really awkward start to the conversation, but this is so much better. We were talking off the air than the conversation that I had with that girl last night at the aquarium.
Yeah.
I literally started with FU.
I love that, though, by the way, because I was going to ask you during this. I've never met you officially.
Right.
I've seen you on the internet.
Yes.
I enjoy the way you go about handling your business. I think it's an
incredible. I appreciate that. We've never met, but I also am impressed by what you've done. So
hey, you got a nice beard. Huh?
Yeah, we got it. There we go.
Yeah. But everybody always has an opinion of Clay Travis. And then as soon as I sit here, I hear the story of you going to try to enjoy a whale shark last night.
It was unbelievable, the whale shark in the Georgia aquarium.
And then a lady just popped off and said she hated everything about your soul, basically. And I'm like, wow, Clay, this is like something I was going to ask about, and it just got thrown into it.
Yeah, and she said, in addition to the fact that FU to start the conversation, she said also that that she was not happy to be at the aquarium because all the fish were oppressed. And I was like, I never really have put the word oppression in conjunction with a fish before, but now that I think about it, like the oppressed fish would be an amazing band name or something, right? Like, if you were out there trying to think of a name for your band, you're a high school kid going to school this morning, like there you go, the oppressed fish. You can cite me when you come superstars.
Well, I think anytime you throw fish in there, like Hootie, I mean Hootie and a Blowfish is an incredible name.
Yes,
fish is something you can tag at the end of any band name, and it's normally going to do well for you. But you also got to think those oppressed fish. Those fish are doing a life sentence in there. You know what I mean?
They don't get back out.
Nobody thinks about that whale shark being in there for his entire life in there. You know?
Unless you get a Nemo situation where they escape. You know, they had that. That's a great movie. But outside of the film universe, very unlikely. You live in Indianapolis. For people who don't know you, you are a punter. We have Brett Kern is a good friend of mine. He loves you. Like you're always out there for the brand. Today, let's start this because they always get upset if I don't do it. You're here for Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings has asked me to come chit-chat about what they have going on. And basically, if the Rams and Patriots goes to overtime, which is what we're all banking on happening, NFC game, AFC game went to overtime. Now, if the big one goes to overtime, Buffalo Wild Wings is giving out free wings to America. And that is honestly something I think everybody can get behind, whether you love Tom Brady or hate him, whether you think the 12-year-old McVay is going to do well or not. I think the free wings opportunity, everybody should be banking on overtime, and that's what we're here for, just to spread awareness that there's some free damn wings on the line here whenever these two teams step onto the field.
Well, now you've got a beard a little bit like me.
It's average.
But you don't have sleeves on right now. And I got to be honest, you got a little Cobra Kai look going here. Johnny, if you didn't have the beard, you'd have a definite Johnny from Karate Kid look going here.
See, I've never seen the movie.
You've never seen Karate Kid?
Not once in my life, but I get it. The kid did the thing, the crane thing. I get it.
What is the reason why you haven't watched Karate Kid?
So when I was a child, I've been learning this with my adventures with my friends on my show. So we do a lot of talking about obviously relevant things. My childhood, I had such bad ADD, I think, like ADHD.
You wouldn't watch movies?
No way. I had no time for that. I honestly have no clue how anybody did it. And I know that I've missed an entire chapter of my life.
Oh, you got to go back in time and just look at all this. So that's one of the great things. I've got 3 boys, is taking them back and watching, the Back to the Future movies. Like all of the movies that I grew up watching, including Karate Kids, they love them. Like they think the 1980s is the greatest time on the planet, right?
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see through their eyes again and also recognize how awesome so many of those movies are. So now
I'm jealous
you got to be able to take care
now.
of it. Oh, they have an unbelievable life. I'm jealous of my kids. I'm jealous of my kids and my wife. They have unbelievable gigs.
The thing about your kids is they aren't oppressed fish. So they are going to live a great life. It's going to be good news everywhere.
And they can leave, right? They don't have to stay in the same place for their entire life. Now, I always curious with kickers.
Yeah, buddy.
When did you recognize that you had a powerful leg?
So
when you were like 5, were you like, I can kick the ball a lot better than anybody else?
Yeah, so in soccer, I always had a stronger leg than anybody else.
Just naturally.
Yeah, so instead of watching movies and all that stuff when I was a kid, I would honestly, my hobby was to kick a soccer ball against the side of my house. So
to drive your parents crazy.
It drove them crazy, but it got me out of the house. So they had to listen to a thump, but it was nice to not have me around, I think, for a long time. And whenever I was a teenager, I was playing in a soccer game. It was an indoor soccer game. It's called futsal, and the ball is a little bit heavier, right?
Yep.
So it's like a smaller ball. It's a little heavier. I broke the goalie's arm, right, with a shot, right?
Wow.
So bing, bang, boom. And I think that was really the day that everybody was like, this kid's leg is pretty strong. And then kind of one thing moved to another. And the first time I kicked a football, I kicked a 60-yard field goal, and then it was just kind of from there. It was like
just naturally.
Business decision, with my family. Like, instead of playing soccer, let's focus on taking 3 steps and making money. money as opposed to 7 miles. So that was kind of the decision. I got real lucky.
So did you start playing in high school then? Football?
Yeah, junior year of
And you'd never played football before that?
No, and I never went to practices either because soccer was supposed to be the thing. I was supposed to play soccer. I had a lot more universities and colleges looking at me for soccer than for football. I wouldn't go to practice. I just show up like with the fans on Fridays. Our football team wasn't great. But I generated a little bit of interest, went to a college kicking camp after my senior year, made a 65-yard field goal, missed a 70-yard field goal wide right. The next day I had a offer to West Virginia University in my cafeteria of high school, and I was like, yep. Heard it's a great time in Morgantown, which I enjoyed having, and they offered me a full scholarship. I was like, let's go.
Did you ever burn a couch?
Oh, yeah. We won a lot, Clay. Yeah. There was a lot of celebrating there. There was a lot of celebrating. And I was a very small factor on a very good team.
Yeah.
So I got to reap the benefits of like Pat White and Steve Slayton being incredible football players.
Did you overlap with Pac-Man at all?
Pac-Man was the year before me, but he used to come back and train in the summer. So I know the Pac-Man pretty well.
Yeah.
I know the Pac-Man
so
pretty well.
I always think of Morgantown, West Virginia, which is an awesome place, and I think we're on there as well.
It is, by the way.
I always think it as like Deadwood, right? Like it's like this crazy hidden place. Like the idea that Chris Henry and Pac-Man Jones were there, and basically, I know they got in a little bit of trouble, but didn't get in that much trouble. And then they suddenly emerged, like their dead bodies just buried on the hills outside of Morgantown, right?
I'm not sure of that.
Have you seen Deadwood?
I could have looked like a dead body on a few occasions there in Morgantown, but I have not seen Deadwood. But I get it, Deadwood. I'm assuming it's bodies in the woods.
Actually, they don't have a lot of woods on Deadwood. It's awesome. They're making a movie now. You do watch television now? Are you watching now, or you still have the ADHD?
You know what? I mean, I dive into some stuff. I saw the Ted Bundy tapes.
Oh, how was that?
It was interesting.
I haven't watched it.
Terrible human, man. It's been interesting how the pop culture has talked about Ted Bundy, but I watch a lot of documentaries.
Have you watched the Fire Festival?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Billy McFarland. Let's go. How about Andy King, by the way? That guy's a real one. He was a loyal guy. Anything for water for old Billy McFarland. You got to really respect that type of
What's
thing.
amazing to me about the Netflix and how some of these documentaries take off is suddenly it seems like everybody has seen them. So last night, even at the media party, the number of people who were talking about the Fire Festival documentary blew my mind. And it's just crazy how something can go viral like that in terms of watching a documentary, which I don't remember growing up at all.
I think we all remember when that Fire Festival promotion started, right? Like I have a guy who works for me who he was like trying to do things to earn a ticket to go to this, right? Because he was all
about the social media influencers. For people who don't know, this took place in the Bahamas, and it was going to be this huge concert, and it was almost entirely promoted on a private island, almost entirely promoted through
IG models,
Instagram, like influencers, but hot chicks, basically.
Basically, that's all it was. It was Sports Illustrated models and IG influencers. And I had a guy in my office that wanted to go bad, and I don't know if I didn't want to pay for him to go or what happened. Something happened. So whenever through, I was so upset that he wasn't there. Like whenever there was like videos of people like stranded, these rich white kids were like stranded on an island in the Bahamas,
losing their minds on social media, which is how it went viral again when it didn't actually end up happening.
So then getting a peek behind that, I think everybody's interested. The documentaries, we're in a documentary era right now because it's easy to make, it's cheap, and people want to know more about more things. It's like a woke society almost. You know?
Yeah, crazily. And when I was growing up,
oppressed fish.
When I was growing up, like the only real documentary I remember is Hoop Dreams, right? I mean, you didn't see documentaries, maybe like Fahrenheit 9/11 or something like that. Like there are a couple of them that have gotten a lot of attention, but by and large, but now with the Netflix and everything else, it's like they take off and everybody suddenly is talking about it. So I'm sure a lot of people listening to us right now have seen that documentary. What do you do now? So you had so you go to West Virginia. Mm-hmm. You have an incredible
average. I was pretty good. I had a really strong leg. I wasn't great.
So what percentage of kicks would you make? When you were
I think I was like 74, 75%, 73 maybe. I was in that area there. I had a really strong leg. Had no clue where the hell it was going.
Really? So you're like a driver who, like in golf, who can get up in the tee box and you're going to crush it, but you have no idea where it's going to hit down.
And I started literally from my freshman year, first game. So I went straight through. So the people of West Virginia had to really go through some ebbs and flows with me, which I appreciate them for. But I started punting my last 2 years there, but it was the college rollout punt. So we catch the ball. I didn't know how to punt. I would just run to the
side. Like the Aussie style.
Yes, exactly. Try to get the ball on the ground and just let it roll. Right? I'm just going to hit it as hard as I can and hope it rolls. And then Bill Polian said that he thought he was athletic enough to figure out how to NFL punt.
Right, which is just stand there and
2 steps. Yeah. He said, I think you're athletic enough to figure it out. And I was like, well, we're going to find out. I mean, this is a nightmare decision for him. So I got drafted in the 7th round, and then a year later I make the team, and I'm kicking off the Super Bowl, and I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. There was no reason for me to be there, and then I just kind of worked, enjoyed my time, and got really lucky to play 8 years there.
So I think it was Vanderjagt, like Peyton Manning called him an idiot
Liquored up kicker. Yeah,
or whatever it was. Did he ever insult you, or did you have a better relationship as a punter with Peyton Manning?
I knew going in there after Vanderjagt messed that up, the relationship. I was like, okay, here we go. Vanderjagt went to West Virginia. I went to West Virginia. I like to drink. Vanderjagt likes to drink. I knew I was coming in with a couple strikes against me, but he enjoyed me, I think. I think Peyton enjoyed me a little bit. He was the perfect teammate, to be honest with you. When I was a rookie, he would take me to places. Like Peyton Manning's taking me to places.
That feel just surreal? Like not.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
It was just the dumbest thing ever. I was at a Tennessee game with Peyton Manning, Bruce Pearl, Pat, and the president of Tennessee was there, and I was there with Peyton and like Anthony Gonzalez, who's now a sitting senator. And it was like I was a rookie. I was like, there's no reason I'm supposed to be here. Right. But I could chug beers pretty well, so people found that impressive. I was like a dancing monkey for people, and that was completely okay with me.
What game did you go to? Do you remember?
It was a kickoff. It was the first game of the year. It was probably 2000. It was 2009. I don't remember what it was, but the place was incredible, absolutely incredible. I got to talk to the kickers before the game on the field. It was really just it was cool. Peyton was way too nice to me. He shouldn't have been as nice to me as he was.
How much did you enjoy being in the NFL? Like, and I would like to ask, like, people who are involved in special teams, because your experience is a lot different than the other guys. So when you were actually in the NFL, were you like, this is amazing, I love every minute of it? What was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun, man. The NFL was incredible to me. Obviously paid very well.
Yep.
I got to take care of my family, my friends, everybody who was supposed to. I got a chance to experience a lot of really cool things. And then towards the end, it's like the first 5-6 years I loved every day going to work. I loved getting better at what I was doing. There was only 32 people who had my job, so I was enjoying it. I was getting good, getting very confident. And then I started hating going to work. I just was sick of it. You know, I was enjoying.
What changed?
Well, I mean, the GM hated me, right? So the GM was not a fan of mine. He did not.
What? He didn't like you because you drank. He didn't like you off the field. He didn't like your attitude.
Well, when he got there, I didn't even drink anymore because I had already gotten arrested. He didn't like the way my Twitter was. So I was basically at this point the voice of the Colts in Indianapolis. My Twitter was large. After I got into an alleged incident, Clay, the cops have their story. I have mine. It was public intoxication. The city of Indianapolis, state of Indiana, kind of got behind me, and my Twitter started slowly growing and growing. And then when the new regime came in, they cut Peyton Manning, they cut everybody.
Right.
So the only people that really stayed around were me, Vinatieri, Robert Mathis, Reggie Wayne, Anthony Costanzo, and none of them were that active on social media. So I was literally the biggest platform coming out of the Colts.
Yep.
And
they weren't happy about that.
The new GM did not like that I was potentially a voice of anybody of that building. And I mean, it wasn't just him. I mean, I had 3 knee surgeries in like 4 years on my knees because they were kind of getting worn out. It was just a lot of things. I was falling in love with what was happening off the field. I was doing stand-up. I was doing a lot of philanthropic stuff. It was just, I just didn't enjoy going to work to kick balls on 4th downs anymore. So I just was like, you know what? Here we go. I'm outie.
If people are enjoying this interview, they can find you where on Twitter?
It's not worth it. Don't follow. We have too many. No, it's at Pat McAfee Show, and I used to be better on there. When I was smaller, I was better.
Now you get nervous? Now you overthink it, or what do you do?
No, you can't really do much interacting because whenever you're, and I'm sure you get yelled at about this. So if I respond to somebody who, like, I used to enjoy when people would, like, talk trash to me.
Yes.
So that, because as a punter, you can't talk trash, man. So when I was playing soccer, I could talk trash. When I was playing pickup basketball when I was a kid, I could talk trash. When I'm
not a lot of punter trash talk.
I can't trash talk anybody. Literally, there's nobody I could trash. I am the bottom of the totem pole in the National Football League. So Twitter was like my escape. Like, okay, so if this guy chirps at me, I could chirp him back. Now I can't even do that. I can't really, because once I go after somebody, I have the best people in the world follow me. They feel like they got attacked, and now I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's like it kind of, when I was smaller, was a lot more fun, but now I just kind of what my observations are in life and enjoy it.
Pat McAfee Show, 1 out of 3. I'd be an all-star.
McAfee Show too. Pat McAfee Show. unbelievable out of you, Clay. You came in here, just dumped right on my face. Unbelievable.
So, in addition to this, you're doing a lot of stuff. I think I need to look up this email. I think we're doing a prop contest. Have you heard about this? Were you informed on this?
Absolutely.
Super Bowl prop contest. I'm trying to pull it up, and the Wi-Fi. You would think, of all places, they would have incredible Wi-Fi here.
Hey, it is cold outside.
Media.
It's nowhere near the polar vortex over there in America. It's like -50 in some places.
Yeah, I know. We had people calling in this morning. We're trying to figure out who the coldest was.
My heart is with you, but Atlanta is nowhere near southern happy warm right now.
No, there's no doubt at all.
It is cold. We had to walk 4 miles to get here. It is cold outside.
It's brutal. You know, they shut down schools yesterday because they thought it was going to snow.
I respect that. I respect that a lot. Just shut her down, John Taffer in Atlanta.
They were preparing. All right, so here we're going to do these quickly, all right? Is that the way we're supposed to do it? National anthem. You going over or under 149?
Over.
All right, somebody keep track on these, Danny.
Well, I do believe, though, that studies, like people that have been watching film on her, have been saying the under's the smart bet.
Yeah.
But I think the moment might get to her, she might carry out a C. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be over strictly for America.
My bookie prop contest here. Coin toss. Which way are you going?
Heads, man.
Always heads? You ever get to call the toss?
One time.
What'd you go with? Did you win?
I went with heads.
Did you win?
Yeah. I felt really good about it, too. I mean, that was the first time I was allowed to speak, basically. It was a fun moment.
What is the best hit you ever put on somebody as a punter? Was there one guy where
the Trendon Holiday hit is the big, because it was when Peyton came back as the Broncos. So that Sunday Night Football was being viewed as like a playoff game. It was big numbers. Huge hit, terrible field position, so I didn't do my job well at all. But I tackled Trendon Holiday. That blew up. But before the social media phase, like back in college, I was like 240. We were playing against like Eastern Washington, like some of these little kids, and some of the returners are small.
Yeah.
I used to catch some people now. I used to really get some people whenever they didn't think I was coming.
Did you ever get a concussion?
I assume. I didn't wear my strap. I didn't wear the strap underneath, and I had terrible tackling form.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that my noggin has at least been knocked a couple times.
First half spread. You think it's a crazy stat. The Patriots have only scored 3 points in the first quarter in their 8 Super Bowls so far. The Patriots are a half-point first half spread favored according to this.
I like the Patriots in the first half. I like the Patriots in the second half. But most importantly, I like the Patriots in overtime. Because if this game goes to overtime, Clay, Buffalo Wild Wings free wings in 2 Sundays from now. I like the Patriots.
Brady, do you like him to have a lot of passing yards or no? 139.5 in the first half.
They got that 3-headed monster in the backfield. And I honestly think if they can get that moving somehow against that stout D-line, I think it's going to be under. I think they're going to be handing the rock off in the first half and then let Tom Brady take it in the second half. Once they see what the defense is doing.
Total punts.
7.
Over 7.5. Under. You're going under.
Under. I think it's going to be 7.
What about the 57-yard? What do you think about the missed call, by the way? In the same.
The bird boxing, man?
Yeah.
If
you were on the Saints, how sick would you be?
Well, I mean, you got to be disgusted, especially after the Minnesota Miracle happened or Minneapolis Miracle happened the year before. That's Drew Brees, I think, was about to call it a day. He hit every single record. I think he was about done. He was doing a lot more of that shoulder shrug at the end of the year. He had every single record. I assumed that this was going to be his last run. And even if they just lose that game outright, potentially, his last run. But after the miracle to Stephon Diggs and then the bird box situation with them refs, I have no idea how Drew Brees, he has to come back. It just has to be unsettling as a Saints fan.
How often are you up early in the morning?
I wake up pretty early.
You want to come on the show regularly? Because I think people would enjoy it.
Sure, man. You just get a hold of me.
All right, we'll do that for sure.